I know it's hard to believe that 2025 is almost over, but it's time for another Gear of the Year video, so hang out for a few minutes and check this stuff out. What's up guys, Eric here with At Home in the Future, and I'm back with our annual Gear of the Year video for 2025. Now we've covered a ton of really cool stuff this year, so I want to give you kind of our top picks and the things I use the most every day. So if you're putting a gift list together for yourself or for other people, you can have some really good options that you can go pick up during the holiday season. So in this video, we're going to cover my favorite EDC gear, travel gadgets, clothing and other essentials, anything that I thought was super cool in 2025. And as always, I've tried to do all the work for you, finding the best deals and coupon codes and all that stuff, and you can find all the info down in the description. Anyway, let's kick this thing off by talking about my favorite EDC gear and travel gadgets. So I get to test out an absolute ton of stuff during the year, which makes it really fun in these Gear of the Year videos to kind of go back and give you the recommendations for the stuff I'm using the most or like the most. So we're just going to start right up here. We'll go right through it. A good pocket flashlight. This has actually been my recommendation for the last year or two. This is a Rovyvon, I believe it's the A8. And even after all the other flashlights and stuff we've checked out, still my absolute favorite. About the size of a AA battery. Weighs nothing, has a magnetic clip, has one button, but has all sorts of stuff built into this. It is USB-C rechargeable. You have a super bright mode you just get to by pressing one simple button. You can double tap to get to your regular flashlight. You can triple tap to get to a UV light, which is awesome for traveling and going to hotels and stuff. In this mode, you can just keep pressing and you get a nice red light, all sorts of different blinking and signaling modes. And if you quadruple tap, you get a nice reading light that you can cycle through. So just one flashlight with like a gajillion different options. And for as much as packed into this thing, they just don't cost very much. It's like one simple light that can replace a whole drawer full of lights. Absolutely love these things. If I lost it, I immediately go to Amazon and buy another one. I use it every day. Love that thing. All right, in the category of lights, this is a new headlamp that actually Wuben just produced this fall, which is just on time for me. It had a black diamond light I've used forever that ended up breaking, but this is another one of those low-cost, super high-value lights. So it's the Wuben H4. It has both a spotlight and a floodlight built into it, so you can switch between these different modes. You get the type of light you're looking for. You can press and hold. There's varying levels of brightness in all of these. They get super, super bright, and it is USB-C rechargeable. You can actually get both of these lights at the same time by double tapping the button, which again, a ton of light out there. You can get to a red mode by pressing and holding this button. And it has lots of different signaling options built in. It even has kind of a surprising motion sensing mode, so you can trigger that by pressing the buttons for a few seconds. And with a wave of the hand, it'll actually turn the light on and off. So if you're in a situation, I was doing this a few weeks ago working on the car, where I needed the light on at some points and turned off when I was standing outside in daylight. You can just cycle that by waving your hand in front of it. Just a really cool light. Wuben's kind of on a roll putting out all these different lights these days. So if you're in the market for a headlamp or want to give one to somebody, that's a really good choice. Now knives, what are the things I'm carrying the most? My two top options here still kind of haven't changed over the last year and a half or so. At the more affordable end of things, which is where a lot of people kind of start out, this is the CJRB Pyrite, still just about the perfect size, especially in these button lock setups. Just a really easy knife to articulate and use every day. It comes with a deep carry clip, lots of different colors available for these. Not like a super top end still, but a great knife. If you're moving up from a beater knife to a nice one, this is a great one to start with. Still my all-time favorite though has to be the Benchmade Bugout. Just picked up a new variant of this, just in some classic earth, kind of OD green vibes, but my all-time favorite knife still. Love the axis lock, just so easy to open and close. These have just the right amount of grip for me, jimping along the back. Deep carry clip, S30V holds its edge a long time and super easy to sharpen. It's got all that made in the USA, Benchmade quality, lifetime service on the blade and all that stuff. But more importantly, this thing weighs absolutely nothing and is crazy thin. So I carry a knife with me every day. These are just super easy to slip in my pants. I have two of them now. I've got a black variant that I still love and picked this one up just because I thought it was super cool. This is my black version, which you can see is a lot more worn in. I need to work on the pivot of my green one over here. Definitely a little pricey because of that Benchmade quality, but if I was going to throw out my entire knife collection and just go back to having only one knife that I ever put in my pocket, it'd definitely be a Benchmade Bugout. Just an all-time favorite. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually a consultant in my day job, doing a lot of work with strategy and AI, where I help people automate the stuff that they hate so that they can focus all their time on the stuff that actually matters. I wrote a really awesome guide called 5 AI Cheat Codes. If you want to look like an absolute genius at work, you can go grab a copy for that for free at ericmorel.com/cheatcodes. But one of the biggest AI hacks out there is taking notes, whether you're on a phone call or in a meeting or whatever you do. Just being able to remember what people actually said is pretty awesome. One of my favorite little gadgets to do that is this device here. So this is the Plaud Note, itty bitty, about the size of a credit card, maybe a little bit thicker than one or two of them. Comes with a little MagSafe case where you can just kind of slide on your phone and keep it on there if you need it, or throw it on if you're taking a phone call. But I've been using this thing since the summer, and I'm convinced it's probably the best AI note taker out there, at least for listening in the room and taking like extensive like transcript style style notes. You just press the button to listen while you're in the meeting, press it again when you're done. Connects with the app on your phone. It's going to give you a thorough rundown of everything that everybody talked about, action items, all that stuff. So if you meet with people for any part of your job or need to record and transcribe phone calls and everything, this is the kind of AI tool that's actually useful, and I promise will make your life so much better. So go grab one of these. One of my favorite little gadgets that I keep with me every day. Speaking of something that's with me every day is my Apple Watch. I'm a big fan, have worn one for years. You're going into the holiday season, you may have one for yourself or be getting one for somebody, or just be getting an accessory to go along with it. Watch bands are typically a thing that everybody's looking for. So two big recommendations this year for watch bands. Both of them actually come from Nomad. The first are Nomad sport bands. I got a few sitting here. Just a nice break from the typical Apple bands you see out there, and a super nice break from all the junk that you get on Amazon. So I know on Amazon it's cheap to go buy a pack of these rubberized bands, but if you've ever used those for a while, after about a month, they all feel sticky and tacky and gross. There's just something tactile about how that cheap rubber breaks down that just makes wearing them feel gross. I typically throw mine out after a few months, but Nomad sports bands are the best I've seen if you want a really sturdy, sweat-proof, waterproof kind of clasp and stuff. Not as giant as some of the options out there. I've got smaller wrists too, so I appreciate that these aren't huge, but really thick and sturdy too. And the big thing I like about these, this is their glow variant. You may have seen this in a video from a few months ago. I absolutely love this thing. It's bright and fun anyway, which people tend to love, especially with like the Apple Watch Ultra with all of its orange accents and everything. But these things glow super, super bright. There's like a new version they just put out this year of these. But if I'm going out on an adventure, I typically have one of those sports bands on. Now day to day, they just came out with this new strap. You see it here. This is their Stratos band. I'm gonna take it off. What makes it special is it is all completely titanium, just like the Apple Watch Ultra. You can also get the dark version. But unlike any other metal-based band I've seen out there, it actually has this kind of rubber built into the other side so it doesn't yank out all your arm hairs, which is a huge win. I feel like these are a lot more comfortable to wear. It also has a magnetic clasp, really easy to put on and off. You can completely size this thing up or down. Again, I have a smaller wrist, so I took out a few links, but it's very easy to pop those out by just messing with these holes in the ends. And it's got a lot of flex with it too, so it actually moves with you and just isn't as rigid as a typical metal band, which to be honest, for years I actually avoided metal bands because of that. I just never found them to be comfortable. This one is comfortable. It's a super high quality titanium, has all the great warranty stuff that typically comes with Nomad products. Big fan of this thing. In fact, I'm gonna put this thing back on. All right, let's talk about charging. If you got gadgets, you're getting somebody a gadget, that's just part of modern life. Maybe they'll all automatically charge over the air one day, but for right now, whether you're at home or going on a trip, a charger can make a huge difference in your quality of life. So I got all sorts of options we're going to talk through here. First up, because we were just talking about Nomad, I found this little cable from them to be super, super interesting. First off, it is simply a high quality, fast charging, high data transfer USB-C cable that will work on any of your USB-C devices. But obviously you know something's different, and that's because it has an Apple Watch charging puck built into one end of the cable here. So if you're looking for an ultra minimalist kind of travel setup, you just want to take a cable and a charger. This is one of the most unique solutions I've seen out there, because you basically just pop this into your power brick, charge your phone at the other end of the nightstand or something, and then just drape your watch across this. I think that's a pretty cool idea, and it works really well. So definitely an option to consider if you're looking for that sort of charging. Now, travel chargers are something I feel like I'm checking out 3 or 4 times a year. And Anker has one of the more interesting takes I've seen in this category lately. So this is one of their new folding triple charging chargers with Qi 2 built into it. You have a fold out stand here for your phone where you can mount it horizontally, vertically, any way you want to do it. Apple stuff does awesome horizontally at night with their nightstand mode, which is pretty cool. You have another Qi pad on the back right here where you can place your AirPods or anything else that would charge wirelessly. They can fit in that space. And again, if you have an Apple Watch, it has a spot here where you can pull out a charging puck that's going to give you 3 different ways to charge your gear in a really compact form, which can actually make a big deal, especially if you stay at a hotel or a cruise boat like I was on a few months ago that gives you like a teeny tiny nightstand. Having something really compact where all your stuff, instead of being all spread out, can just like stack on top of each other and still keep charging is pretty cool. I love how small it packs down. It's got just a tiny bit of heft to it, I think because of all that fast charging Qi 2 tech built in. I think that's a great option to consider there from Anker. Another gadget that I found to be really handy this year are these all-in-one charging bricks from Epicka. So this is their 45 watt version. There's some that use less power. There's some that can output quite a bit more power, but they all kind of have the same idea where you have this universal charging port on the front where no matter what country you're in, you can slide out whatever kind of plugs you need. You really only have one device and you're good to go. Now, of course, you can plug whatever you want to this other side, but they also have USB-C ports, USB-A ports built in, which is super handy. So you're not taking all these other different adapters and plugs and everything. You're really just bringing one little device. I keep mentioning cruises, but man, this thing was actually great on the cruise because you typically don't have that many US ports. So I was able to pop out one of these European plugs and use one of the other outlets that was available to me and add a ton more charging capacity. So really, really handy. Now I know not everybody's going international all the time, but you likely are trying to take one charger with you daily in your bag. maybe with your laptop and keeping your phone topped off and all this stuff. It's a 100-watt charger from Anker. It's something I'm a huge fan of. It uses all the latest GaN power tech to keep it small and compact and lightweight, way smaller than probably the charger that came with your laptop. Plus you get additional charging ports in the bottom, a USB A1, 2 USB-Cs. Again, this tiny charger can crank out 100 watts to charge up your laptop, phone, iPad, whatever else you got with you. It'll charge it up in no time. Of course, it works on Android devices and everything else. What I love about this is it has a screen built into it as well where you can cycle through modes. But it'll tell you how much power is actually going to your devices. And this can be really useful. I had an iPad that was totally dead a few weeks ago. I kept plugging it into different chargers. It would show me a battery indicator, but would never totally charge. Finally, when I plugged it into this, I could see a bunch of power was going to it at first, but then it would drop way down. And after unplugging it and plugging it back in a few times, the iPad finally kicked in where I could see that there's a steady flow of power going to it, and eventually it finally kicked on. So it gives you a lot of really interesting charging information that you wouldn't normally expect to get from a brick like this. So super, super handy. Now, I think another great gift you can give people, especially if they have an iPhone with MagSafe, are these little MagSafe power banks. Of course, you can use this like any sort of USB-C charger. It has a port there at the end, a simple one-button interface. But what makes these so special is the Qi 2 charging built in where you just pop it on the back of your phone. And these will typically take your phone pretty much from almost dead all the way back up to just about a full charge. But these new ultra slim ones, also from Anker, are some of the best I've come across. It's extremely, extremely light. I think technically it's probably meant to complement like the new iPhone Air that just came out. But this thing has a surprisingly high capacity for being so small, so thin, and so lightweight. So teenagers to grown-ups or even yourselves, you're gonna love having one of these if you hadn't had one of those before. Just awesome to throw in a travel backpack. And finally, the topic of power. If you are a remote work maniac or a travel hound and need all the juice you can get or just a huge amount of juice to charge up stuff fast, this super heavy duty power bank from Anker has a ton of really cool features built into it. First up, this whole thing is 25,000 milliamp hours, so you can charge your phone over and over again. You can power up your laptop all the way from dead, charge your iPads, whatever else. You probably don't even need to be near a plug during the day or when you're on a trip. This thing is going to keep you going. You've got USB-C and USB-A as needed. You've got a screen very similar to the charger I just showed you over there where you can get your charging status on here. When you plug stuff into it, when you're charging at the wall, it's going to give you exact indications on how much power is going out, how long it's going to take to charge this unit up, which I think is really cool. You'll see how much time you have left so you can know, okay, I need this much time at the hotel before we get to the park. Just a really handy feature, but the thing I probably love the most is the built-in cable. So you've got USB-C over here that you can just pull out. That's part of its handle. Pretty good distance for that over here. And you have a retractable magnetized USB-C cord here where you can just pull this thing out, get a ton of length on both ends to charge things up. And when you're done, it just kind of retracts back into itself where you give it a little tug and it'll flow back in and then magnetically pop right back down. So you can kind of have one self-contained brick that has all the cables you need, at least if all your devices are USB-C. And definitely all the juice you need. Also, will output up to 165 watts. So you could have a giant laptop that needs all the juice in the world. You're gonna be able to fast charge that thing. A great solution if you need a ton of power. Kind of hard to beat all these Anker chargers. All right, a few more really fun gadgets to recommend here. First, I'm a huge reader. You probably saw this earlier this year. I got the new color Kindle, which I really liked until they changed how hard it was to get stuff that you purchase off the Kindle and onto other things. That's like the freedom to bounce around between services. That made me decide to check out the Kobo Libra color. And man, am I glad I did, because I absolutely love this thing. It has a bright color screen itself. It's got page turn buttons. It's very, very thin, very, very light. Turn it on real quick and let you get a peek at it. Bright, vibrant colors, all sorts of different views in here. Of course, they have their own store. You can sideload stuff that you've purchased elsewhere. You can jump right into overdrive on here and check out books from your local library, which is really, really awesome, especially if you're a big reader like me. But actually, probably my favorite feature is just these awesome page turn buttons. Laying in bed, you don't even have to move. I can just lay there and click that and just go through the stuff I'm reading really, really quick. Also love that it gives you really nice stats built into every book so you can see how many minutes you have to go in the chapter, where you're at in things, how long different chapters are throughout the book. You can see your progress at the bottom. There's just a ton of ways to customize these. So I was kind of shocked how much I enjoyed this over the Kindle experience. So if you're on the fence or you're looking for an ebook reader or want to grab one for somebody on your list, the Kobo Libra Color, really good choice. Another surprising gadget that I've been head over heels for this year are these display glasses. These are the Viture Luma Pro glasses. Look like a pair of Ray-Bans. Connect them to your phone and basically you have a 150-inch TV screen, almost 4K quality, projected right in front of your eyeballs. If you go on planes a lot or public transit or that sort of thing, just a really killer way to consume a ton of content. After having these for a few months now, I think the thing I actually use them for the most is laying in bed at night while my wife's asleep and basically watching a giant TV on the ceiling without disturbing her. Just looks phenomenal. This new model is really, really adjustable. Lots of different nose pads. You can adjust the screens to match your vision. You can actually even click these stems of the glasses to get a fit and a tilt for the screen that directly fits your line of sight. And all it takes to connect is just a simple cable. You slap it on there, it's magnetic. magnetic, connect it to a phone or device with USB-C. It doesn't need any power itself. It takes the power from the device, so you don't have to charge them or anything like that. And you don't look like an absolute psycho on the plane like you might look right now with like an Apple Vision Pro. Maybe that'll come into style at some point, but right now it just looks like you got some thick Ray-Bans on and you're watching a huge screen. Anyway, love these things. Great for gaming, great for movies on the go. We're just laying in the dark at night. Super, super cool gadget. And one more quick pick here if you're shopping for somebody that's impossible to buy for. These are simply rechargeable hand warmers from Ocoopa. Tons of colors, different styles of these available on Amazon. Really inexpensive. They pop apart though, charge with USB-C, press and hold to turn them on. You can just hold them in the palms of your hands. Within about 30 or 60 seconds or so, really put out a ton of heat and can last for hours. And I find myself keeping these in my work bag just in case it's a cold day at work and I'm walking from the far end of the parking lot. It takes me a few minutes to get into the building. Or really if you're going anywhere that you're gonna be outside for prolonged periods of time or anything like that. Just a super fun gadget that's way better than those little like open and shake up bags that last for just a few hours and then are gone forever. You can recharge these over and over again. They actually can also serve as a power bank as well to charge other devices. I never use them like that because I want all the power to go to the heat, but really cool. And they're magnetic. You can pop them together. If you want a lot of heat in one hand, you can pop them apart. Sometimes I'll give one to my wife. Sometimes I keep one in my pocket. It's really handy, really inexpensive, and something I think just about anybody would enjoy. So hand chargers from Ocoopa, can't go wrong with a set of those at all. Okay, clothes and essentials. I want to give you some of the things that I wear the most that I feel like is the best looking, most versatile, and just about anybody could appreciate. The first of those is just a t-shirt. And my pick for the year kind of surprised me because it's not like the most expensive thing or even the fanciest thing on the market. So these are Flint and Tinder's vintage soft wash tees. They come in a bajillion different colors. They're a simple cotton tee made in the USA that I think just fits really well, is just the right weight, and it's something that's easy to wear on its own or layer like I'm doing now. Like all of a sudden the t-shirt marketplace has exploded the last few years. You got the super cheap stuff you can get at Walmart. You can go buy $90 a piece t-shirts online. These fall right in that affordable but not crazy priced category where it's gonna be an upgrade from what you'd find at a department store, but at a price that's still really reasonable and something that's gonna stay in your closet for probably like 5 years. So yeah, really love these things. And as far as layering goes, there's nothing I like better than a flannel. And probably my favorite recent take on the flannel shirt is from Howler Brothers. You may be familiar with Howler. I've had them a few times on the channel in the past. I think they just have a really cool style, got a little bit of Western flair in there, but also their stuff just wears hard. These Harker flannel shirts are true to that tradition. It's a really nice midweight flannel, has some cool flourishes and stuff on it. You can see some stitching on the back shoulder there, but they're very comfortable, very soft, very warm. They've got extra reinforcement on the sleeves in the right places. Come in a ton of different colors and look cool buttoned up on their own or just open like this. So if you dig that Howler Brothers kind of vibe, I think these Harker flannels are definitely where it's at. So I don't know about you, but jeans are one of those things in my closet that I wear probably the most often during the week. A single pair will stay in my rotation for years, but it takes me forever to find pairs that I really, really like. So a few months ago, I took a gamble on a pair of Flint and Tinder's stretch Selvedge jeans. And I'll tell you right now, without a doubt, these are the best pair of jeans I think I've ever owned. I could tell like the second I pulled them out of the box that they're made different. I already feel worn in. They're double stitched all over the place. I got the straight fit and you can get all sorts of different styles and stuff, of course. But these, for me, I don't know if it's the stretch, I don't know if it's that Selvedge denim, but they have a worn in feel and fit that just like the second I put a pair of these things on, I knew I was gonna get rid of all the other pairs of jeans I have in my closet. So it's a premium denim, not the cheapest jean you'll find, definitely not the most expensive jean you'll find either, but the materials, the washes on these, even just like the stitching and the feel of the waistband, there's kind of a magical combination of really sturdy and really, really comfortable. So Flint and Tinder, stretch Selvedge, honestly probably my favorite pair of pants I have in the closet right now. And speaking of denim, I want to start my jacket section by talking about what has become my most worn jacket this fall. This is also from Flint and Tinder. This, I think they call it the Cone Mills denim jacket. It's made in the USA. It's not Selvedge denim, but it reminds me a lot of those pants in the sense that the weight and the stitching and the worn in feel kind of like right out of the box made this like immediately my favorite lighter weight jacket that I own. So if it's in the 60s, I'm probably throwing on a t-shirt, throwing this on, and I'm good to go. A few different colors of these out there too, so definitely go grab one. But if you're looking for something a little bit heavier, I found myself reaching for the classic Patagonia better sweater. And I've had a few fleeces and stuff over the years, but one thing I've learned is these things have a reputation for a reason. They fit great, match just about everything, and have just the right amount of coziness to them. They always stay pretty warm unless you're like in heavy wind or something like that. The office I work in the day is always like super freezing. So in those days here in Tennessee, we're hitting like the high 40s or something. I've definitely been reaching for this thing. It's a legendary jacket for a reason. Worth looking into if you've never tried one out. And on those colder days, this is an awesome new jacket I've been trying this year from Relwen. This is, I think they call it their Superfleece, but it's like a mix of their super famous WinZip jacket that's this material, not quite the shiny silky stuff you normally see. It's kind of a matte finished, soft finished, baffled jacket. It's already kind of warm, similar to your typical thin puffer jacket. But they've taken it up a notch by putting a nice layer of this kind of Sherpa, thicker, fluffy fleece inside of it that not only is like super, super cozy, but it actually really holds your heat in. Now, it doesn't go all the way down through the arms or anything, which is actually pretty nice for putting this on and off and not pulling, if you have a flannel shirt on or something like that, it's not pulling at that fabric. But it takes that kind of classic, cool, cool Relwen kind of like shirt jacket, old time vibe kind of style. It adds a lot more warmth to it, but it's still really thin and actually pretty light too. So anyway, I think they have about 5 or 6 colors of this thing. If you're looking for that shirt jacket kind of look, but you want something a little bit warmer, there's a cross between a puffer jacket and a fleece. I think Relwen's probably got you covered this year. All right, before we leave jackets here, I asked Lauren for a recommendation for the ladies in your life, and her top pick for a gifted jacket is this new version of the wax trucker jacket, which has been like super famous on the internet for years from Flint and Tinder. I think it was last year they just introduced for the first time a women's cut of this. And they have a few different colors and stuff of that now. So this is their filled tan version of that. And if you've ever had a wax jacket yourself, you know how versatile they are. Just have a cool vibe, get a neat patina over time. Really great for layering, but also cozy and comfortable. And like Lauren said, just don't look like every other women's jacket out there. Have a little bit of retro, rugged flair on them. Super sturdy, great warranty. So if you're looking for something unique to pick up for that special lady in your life, here you go. I think she'll dig it. Last but not least, I have to mention something that I talked about, I think at the very beginning of this year. And it's something that when it started to turn cold here in Tennessee just a few weeks ago, I was pumped to pull these back out of my closet. So these are Kyrgies. They're an indoor wool like house shoe and are easily one of my favorite things I've discovered over the last few years. You think house shoes, you think slippers, you think sweaty feet, you think smelly. These are entirely the opposite of that. Made of handcrafted felted wool. They're just super, super cozy, and I don't know what it is about wool, but like these always keep my feet like the perfect temperature. My feet don't get super hot. My feet never feel cold with these things on. Most of the models I have just like this kind of a thicker leather sole. So we have hardwood everywhere in our house and it just gives me some grip and everything. But literally the first thing I put on in the morning when I get out of the bed and the last thing I take off before getting in bed are these Kyrgies. They're awesome. They come in a bajillion different colors. They make an incredible gift. There's men's styles, there's women's styles. If you want to give somebody their favorite thing this holiday season, I promise you these are the ticket. Can't recommend these strongly enough. So there you go. That's my gear of the year for 2025. And I hope I just made your holiday shopping just a little bit easier. And again, if you want to go grab any of these items, I've done all the legwork for you. Coupon codes, whoever's got the best price, all that stuff. The links are down in the description. And when you purchase with those links to it, also helps the channel at no charge to you. So thanks for helping out with that. All right, guys, that's it for this video. As always, if you dug the video, be sure to hit the like button because it helps the channel out a ton. And subscribe if you want to see more cool gear like this down the line. I'll see you guys next time.